What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at again with another video. So I'm gonna check out why fans are losing faith in WWE. Now, this is a pretty interesting topic or conversation to have. I've seen people make videos talking about them being worried about WrestleMania this year, and some people feeling like WrestleMania is not gonna be as exciting as it was last year, and understandably so. I think a lot of people just in general thought The Rock was gonna be more involved in the story that they had been telling last year leading up to this year's WrestleMania. But I will say this: I am still one of the few individuals that are still looking forward to WrestleMania, still looking forward to some of the stories that are going to play out. We still have plenty of time, still have plenty of builds to go through. So I'm willing to give it, a chance, because in my opinion, there's still things I'm looking forward to potentially seeing and how matchups are going to align. So that's just my personal opinion on it. I know some people are concerned or feel like the hype is not as big as it once was, like last year, but we'll see. Well, appreciate all love and support. Let's get right into this video, man.
Are fans losing faith in WWE? Over the past week or so, the landscape in WWE has dramatically changed. From a negatively received Royal Rumble to WWE releasing a plethora of names, fans are starting to question the direction WWE are going in as a company. And this is unprecedented when it comes to the Triple H era. So what exactly is going wrong? Are the fans truly losing faith in WWE's booking? Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on WrestleMania XL. The Royal Rumble disaster. The 2025 Royal Rumble didn't go the way WWE intended. WWE decided to book Jey Uso to win the men's matchup, and this was a decision that received widespread criticism. Fans jumped to social media to share their disdain over the booking, and the YouTube dislikes spoke for themselves. Ultimately, this negative reaction didn't extend to the live crowds, as Jey had remained insanely over, but fans are still questioning if Jey wrestling for the world title at WrestleMania 41 is the right call. When it comes to Charlotte Flair, her win has been a total train wreck.
Yeah.
Flair would win the match, and similarly to Jey, fans let their voices be heard by disliking official YouTube videos relating to a win. Hell, even a press conference got bombed with dislikes. But unlike Jey, the fan resentment towards the booking move carried over to television, as during a supposedly babyface promo on Raw, Flair was heavily booed. What Flair's win shows is a total disconnect between WWE Creative and the fans. WWE Creative assumed that Flair returning and being the same brash, arrogant character would translate well and make fans finally root for her. Whilst Flair did return from an injury, she returned and instantly won the Royal Rumble. Where was the adversity? Where's the character struggle that's been so present with top babyfaces such as Cody Rhodes and LA Knight?
That's a fair point.
Now, it was reported this week that WWE may be switching up the planned Flair versus Tiffany Stratton matchup at WrestleMania 41. And whilst these initial plans were to see Flair enter the match as the heroic babyface, this has now changed, and Flair will walk into the show as a heel. Now, this is the right move.
As she should have been. If you're gonna present her as a babyface, you don't have her win the Royal Rumble immediately coming back from injury. I know some people say, well, Cody did the same thing. That's different. Cody was on the show. He wrestled in a very grueling elimination chamber match with Seth Rollins in a feud that was already established, and he wrestled hurt. He didn't even have to, but he wrestled hurt, and people were automatically behind the guy. They were automatically behind the guy. Now, I know some people were like, maybe he should have started off at like maybe number 2 or whatever, to really grind through it, but at the same time, that was not the case. That was definitely not the case, and they ended up having him come out, and he won it. You kind of knew he was going to win it, but I don't think anyone tripped off of it, because the last time we saw the guy, my man was wrestling in a Hell in a Cell and went through adversity and won that match with a torn pec. So that's a different story, because people were already rooting for Cody, and we kind of had an idea where they were going to take this when, ultimately Cody's going to be the one to try to take down Roman, right? The Charlotte situation is she came back, and then they did vignettes, and even though she, obviously got hurt, and it was, a pretty grueling injury for herself, she came back. They had the vignettes of her coming back as this cocky, arrogant person, and then she won it. She then won it, and then was trying to paint the sob story and also adding layers to this. Cody's never been a WWE champion. Charlotte's a 14-time WWE Women's Champion. That's also another thing. If Cody was like a 14-time champion, sure, I can understand people feeling some type of way. But Charlotte is a 14-time world champion. I don't think she needed the Royal Rumble win. And she's already a previous Royal Rumble winner. So there's layers to it. I can understand why people feel some type of way about Charlotte. And honestly, her going heel is the best thing they can do. She's better as a heel anyway.
For WWE to make, but this is something that could have been avoided if WWE just presented Flair as a heel from the moment she returned.
There we go.
The releases. The resentment towards WWE following the Royal Rumble continued, as it would announce a range of names that had been released from the company. These names range from the Good Brothers to Blair Davenport. Whilst hardly any of these names were used on television, cutting talent when the company is firing on all cylinders isn't great for morale. Especially after it was reported by Dr. Chris Featherstone that talent were caught off guard from the recent string of releases, especially since most of them were recently on television or scheduled to receive more exposure. WWE going from actively bragging about attendance records and gate revenue to releasing a bunch of wrestlers is an odd juxtaposition, and one that just doesn't paint WWE in the best light. WWE would also release a talent whilst they were injured, as Carl Anderson is on the injured list, and despite this, WWE made the rare move to release him from his contract. This is something that WWE quite rightly should avoid, but the policy is now gone out of the window. In relation to why these names were released, it was reported that WWE was going to shake up the roster and move people up from NXT. Whilst it sounds great on paper, annihilating the roster of an already struggling NXT brand isn't the smartest move in the world. The NXT creative team has been notably having a difficult task in finding names for the top of the men's division, and they're even using Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Since
And they just recently got Ricky Starks, which is getting a lot of buzz, so that's pretty dope to see. But that's an understandable criticism to have. It's like, okay, so you're making way for NXT people, so you're getting rid of the people that are on the main roster. I mean, to be honest with you, if you're not doing nothing with them, you might as well put them on NXT if you're going to move up some people, if that's what they decided to do. But apparently that wasn't the case, even though they're making the most money that they've ever made in company's history. That's just, I don't know. That could have been done, but I don't run the business day to day, so I don't know how accurate that is.
Down is officially a 3-hour product, and releasing names whilst the 3-hour format is already stale is just confusing and bewildering. Wouldn't it make more sense to use some of the names such as Cedric Alexander and Isla Dawn for roles on the Blue brand? In relation to Dawn, she was literally one half of the women's tag team champions last summer, and now she's unemployed, despite WWE having hardly any teams within the women's division. It just doesn't add up, and fans are demanding answers. The booking of WrestleMania 41.
Oh boy.
Now we're under 10 weeks away from the biggest show of the year, and as things stand, things are looking a bit bleak. A few months ago, it seemed like a given that names such as The Rock would be featured on the show, and it also appeared that the top matches would include John Cena vs Gunther and potentially CM Punk vs Seth Rollins. WWE have since decided to rip this WrestleMania card to pieces, and the only match that is currently destined for the show is Gunther vs Jey Uso, a match that was featured on Saturday night's main event just 3 weeks ago. One of the names that fans wanted to see featured at Mania was Io Sky. Sky was a fan favorite to win the Women's Rumble, and when WWE decided to go with Flair as the winner, there was a hope that WWE would have Sky win the Elimination Chamber match. Currently, Sky isn't in the chamber match, and this has led to a lot of upset from fans. This past weekend, Sky was trending on X, and this was because fans were sharing how disgruntled they were with her presentation. It was also reported coming out of the Rumble that WWE would be building towards a Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair match at Mania, and if this is the concrete creative plan WWE have, then obviously Sky won't be wrestling for the world title at WrestleMania.
And we just found out that, I want to say, is it after Elimination Chamber? Yeah. I think Rhea announced that she'll be going one-on-one with Io for the Women's World Championship, I believe, after Elimination Chamber. So, and most likely, Io's not winning that match. So, yeah, we're probably not going to get it at WrestleMania. I don't know how they're going to do Rhea and Bianca. That is something new and fresh. Don't know how they're going to do that, but we're going to see how that plays out. That is interesting. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, nah, they're most likely EO is not gonna have a WrestleMania moment like she did last year, and most likely I don't know what they're gonna do with her going into WrestleMania. So
WrestleMania. There also just seems to be no hype whatsoever heading into the show of shows, and WWE are struggling to move tickets, with just over 40,000 sold for each respective night. The ticket
damn,
prices are through the roof, and WWE are simply relying on the product being supposedly hot to convince fans to make a
jeez, that's
once-in-a-lifetime purchase.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Phew. I'm guessing these are per night. Yeah, I'm believing these are per night. This is for night. I want to say, oh, or maybe it's combining both nights. I mean, that's still a lot of money, bro. 4,000 for the 2 day combo, 2,000 for the 2 day combo. They're definitely expensive tickets. These are not cheap tickets. You're basically paying 2,000 a night here, 1,000 a night here. They're not cheap. Definitely not cheap. So I don't know, man. We still got plenty of time, but I'm in, I'm still looking forward to seeing how some of these matches may play out. That's just my personal opinion.
But this isn't going to happen this year. What WWE needs to do is focus on building a compelling WrestleMania card, and they need to give fans a WrestleMania card that warrants the significant price tag.
Yeah.
Currently, WWE are taking the passion and love from the fans for granted, and this could lead to major problems. So what is going on with the product? One of the things that's missing from the WWE product right now is an edge. The hype following the Netflix launch has died down now, and we're now in the midst of a WrestleMania season with not a single compelling story on either respective show. Cody Rhodes looks set to once again feud with Solo Sikoa. Why WWE have taken this direction is
I don't
anyone's
know.
guess. The feud between the two was without a doubt the weakest part of Rhodes' WWE title reign so far, and even though the feud climaxed in a steel cage match, WWE are going back to this again.
Yeah, I do think that's kind of an alley oop to the Jay and Solo feud. I just, I get that's probably going to be the way they bridge that feud and start that. But at the same time, mm, I wish there was another route they went to get that feud to start up. I mean, I don't think Solo needs to be, potentially doing all that, trying to attack Cody again. I think you could go about it another way to get Jacob and Solo to feud, in my personal opinion, without us rehashing a feud or a situation we've already seen with Cody. So that's just my personal opinion on it. But I do think I think this is short lived. I hope they don't do anything or plan a match with these guys. No, I do think it's going to be more or less a catalyst to start the feud between Jacob and Solo, which I think a lot of people would be interested in.
Who is this feud for? What is the appeal? Wouldn't it make more sense for WWE to have spent the first portion of 2025 building up names such as Carmelo Hayes or Andrade so Rhodes had a credible opponent? It's just nonsensical booking that alienates the audience. And as a result of the added extra hour on SmackDown, it's greatly suffered by it. Whilst this should have led to more talent getting exposure, this isn't what's happening, and WWE have made the odd move of actively moving talent such as Logan Paul and AJ Styles away from the Blue Brand. The Blue Brand's roster is insanely thin, and they are struggling to present new matches on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
It's clear based on Triple H's comments that he believes that 2.5 hours is a sweet spot for a weekly television.
Which we've been saying, but we know. A lot of y'all are like, oh, the 3 hour. No. The 3 hour format is just overdone. We've seen it too many times. No. I think a 2 to 2 hour and 30 minute is a sweet spot. Tell your stories, get in, get out. I know y'all are like, oh, we can see more people on the shows. We're not. The people that you could see on the shows are getting let go. So now what? And what's the point of putting people on the shows? And you got to make them care. You got to make them want to be interested in seeing these individuals. So, we know why they're doing it. Obviously, USA needs that time to be filled. So, I think it's supposed to end somewhere in the middle of this year, June or July, and then they'll go back to 2 hours. Thank goodness. But the 3 hours is hurting SmackDown because the roster is already thin, in my opinion. So,
show, booking a 3-hour SmackDown with a limited roster is proving to be one of the game's most difficult tasks to date. Are talent happy backstage? And one of the main stories coming out of the Royal Rumble focused on Drew McIntyre. McIntyre reportedly stormed out following the match as his elimination spot went wrong, and the former champion wasn't best pleased with the planned idea of working with Damian Priest at WrestleMania, with reports calling it a nothing match. Now, although McIntyre did calm down and was fine working with the man he had an issue with at the Rumble, that being LA Knight, McIntyre does have a strong point here. McIntyre was without a doubt the hottest and most compelling character on television in 2024, and for him to be rewarded with a nothing match with Priest on the grand stage is a bit of a spit in the face. The match won't be anywhere near the main event of either night, and the fans will struggle to care about the match itself. Fans are hoping that WWE pivots, but they're slowly becoming a company that is forced to pivot on every major call, as they lack basic understanding of what the fans really want. There have been no other concrete reports on wrestlers being unhappy, but with the WrestleMania main events up in the air, talent being released, and Triple H seemingly making things up as he goes along, there will no doubt be an element of concern and apprehension within the WWE locker room. So has the cockiness backfired? WWE likes to pride themselves on setting records left, right, and center, and it's become a trend for WWE to break attendance records, and they like to even brag about setting record gates. Whilst this is all well and good, it shows that the ticket prices, though, are through the roof. And naturally, making these kinds of announcements, then delivering a mediocre product, as well as releasing names, is a strategy that could soon catch up to WWE in a very negative manner. The expression WWE is on fire right now is used by WWE themselves, and whilst this may be the case when it comes to attendance and TV deals, right now the same couldn't be said for the fans' faith in the WWE product, and they need to act with urgency to turn things around. What do you guys think?
Hey, look, I'm all here to give fair criticism. I am. And obviously this year's build is quite concerning because the thing is they do have options, and I love that. They do have options, and that's why I'm confident in saying I believe that we will get some good matches, some good storytelling. They have options. I know one of the rumors is now potentially a triple threat between Cody Rhodes, John Cena, and CM Punk. Some people are in favor of that idea. Some people are not. I mean, you got to be able to make it make sense. So, I wouldn't trip. I think that would be an interesting match to tell. CM Punk and John Cena have history. Now Cody Rhodes is trying to, beat, arguably one is certified Hall of Famer and John Cena. Most likely CM Punk is certified Hall of Famer as well. But these are the guys from the yesteryear, the previous, I guess you could say generation that essentially was carrying the company and the top guys. You feel me? Like these are well-known names in the industry, and he's fighting them both at the same time. That could possibly be an interesting story. So they have options, the Seth and Roman Reigns. I know people would love to see that. They have options. You can interchange these matches as well. So I do think that there are some good things that we can look forward to, but I will be the first one to say that it is fair to have the criticism of it hasn't been as streamlined like we would have wanted or what the fans would have thought how things would have played out. Granted, last year it wasn't all confirmed. We kind of knew The Rock was going to be involved and he was going to be in the main event. Then Cody wasn't, and then how things had to pivot there. This is a little bit different because where people wanted certain people to win at the Royal Rumble, they didn't. Some fans feel jaded about that. And now we have, certain situations and stories that people are concerned with. Is it going to be as entertaining as they think? A lot of people have that criticism for Jey Uso and Gunther, which I honestly think they're going to have a banger match because it's hard to have a bad match with Gunther. But some people don't feel like that's going to be the case. So I don't know, man. It's really a toss-up, to be honest with you. But I will say this. There's still some things I'm excited and looking forward to. And hopefully, as the weeks go by, we kind of get an idea of where these stories are going to go. And, we'll see how things play out, man. But comment down below. Let me know. How do y'all feel about so far WrestleMania's build this year? Do you feel like the build has been okay? Do you feel like the build's been great? Do you feel like the build has been pretty lackluster? Y'all let me know down below. But I appreciate all the love, support. Road to 150K. Appreciate y'all kicking to me. See you on the next one. Peace.